We're looking at vertical line test from the Functions and Lines pie slice in ALEX from Algebra 1. So the vertical line test states that if you can draw a vertical line anywhere on a graph and it only passes through no more than one point, so draw a vertical line anywhere on a graph. And no matter where you draw it, it only passes through one point. Only passes through no more than one point, I should say. Only passes through no more than one point. Then it's a function. If you can draw a line anywhere on a graph and it passes through more than one point, it's not a function. So let's take a look at some of the ones that are sort of easier to look at. So we'll actually start with graph 3. So notice that if I draw a vertical line on this side of the graph, it doesn't pass through any points, so that's okay. But if I draw a vertical line on this side of the graph, where you see the actual relation, notice that it passes through 2 points. Passes through a point here and passes through a point here. Therefore, it fails the vertical line test. And it is not a function. Graph 4, again, if I look where the relation is and I draw a vertical line, notice that it passes through a point on the relation here and it passes through a point on the relation here. Again, it fails the vertical line test and is therefore not a function. Graph 5, if you look, no matter where I draw a vertical line, it's only going to pass through one point. Okay? It passes the vertical line test and it is a function. So let's take a look at these ones that just have little dots and line segments, piecewise functions. Okay? If we draw a vertical line through this part of the relation, it only passes through one point. If we draw a vertical line right here, notice that it kind of looks like it passes through 2 points. We have a point here, but this point here has an open circle. That means that this portion of it comes incredibly close to this point, but doesn't actually touch it. So if it passes through a closed circle and an open circle, that's okay. Again, over here, if we draw a vertical line, the same thing happens. We go through a closed circle, which is a point, and we go through an open circle, which means that it approaches, but it doesn't actually touch that point. So because of this, it only passes through one point technically here. It only passes through one point technically here, and therefore it passes the vertical line test. It is a function because it only goes through one point at any given time. Graph 2, if we draw a vertical line here, it only goes through one point. If we draw a vertical line here, it only goes through one point. Here, 1 point, 1 point, 1 point. So this one also passes the vertical line test, so it is a function. And then this last one, graph 6, if we draw a vertical line here, it passes through 2 points. Notice that they're both closed circles. So right now we know that it has failed the vertical line test. It also fails the vertical line test over here. It passes through 2 points. So if you can draw a vertical line anywhere on the graph and it will pass through more than one point, then it's going to fail the vertical line test. And I should have written no on there. Sorry about that. So it failed the vertical line test. Therefore, it is not a function. Okay, so if it fails the vertical line test, if it passes through more than one point, it's not a function. If it passes the vertical line test, in other words, it only passes through one point or no points, we can draw a vertical line over here and it doesn't pass through any points at all, that's fine. It passes the vertical line test and it is therefore a function.